All right, everybody, this is live from Radio Row. You're taking a look at Sirius XM, ESPN Sports, and of course, next to them, Fox Sports Radio. Some of the biggest names in sports entertainment, of course, are here as we wrap up. It's kind of empty in here. It's a little bit quiet today. I don't know, this calm before the storm. There's no storm in here today, but still some big names. George Kittle just walked by saying hi to my guest, so I'm just going to go to my guest and bring him out, tell his story a little bit. But joining me right next to me is Coach Rob Mendez. His story, if you haven't seen it, heard of it, is amazing. I mean, I pale in comparison to what this man has overcome, and he just inspires me and inspires everybody. Born without arms and legs, went on to become a high school football coach, learning how to create plays with a Madden controller and figuring out X's and O's and creating plays that he could execute on the field. He took that to the next level. He's never taken no for an answer. In fact, he's got his own book called Who Says I Can't by Rob Mendez, an amazing story. I've gotten to know him. We've become friends, and we spent out. He coached our game, another victory for his coaching ranks, our 14-7 win over the NFL All-Stars. So, Rob, thanks for joining me, brother.
Hey, we're 1-0 together, so
yeah,
we're winners. Good to have, or thanks for having me.
So, Rob, we talk about your story, and obviously people don't want to, feel sorry for you when they see you because you've overcome so much. And as we talked about people staring at us and not knowing your life, how do you continue to have such a bright, effervescent personality?
I think simply because I was born this way, so I've known this since day one, and it was hard for me to notice people staring at me until maybe about 9 or 10 years old is when I started noticing I got second looks. But when I was a kid, I don't know if my parents did a good job at sheltering it or not, but I was around the mainstream since preschool, so nothing to me was different except for I started noticing I couldn't go up to the batter's box, couldn't swing the baseball bat, and then next thing you know it, my friends aren't at home because they're at Little League baseball practice, and I'm not at Little League baseball practice. So I made the best of my own situation, and what I did was I love sports, so I started playing MLB The Show, Madden, FIFA, all the sports games, NBA 2K, and just somehow adapted to sports in my own way.
And, once you started doing that, obviously, people are like, well, you can't do that. You can't have that goal. You can't do, but it was the same for me. You can't play professional baseball with no legs, and you can't work in TV. But as your book says, Who Says I Can't? You just did it, and I've seen the video. And if you haven't, just Google Rob Mendez. It's great footage of him as a youth rolling around. There's only one way to describe it: just rolling around the ground, figuring out life, figuring out how to pick up things, how to sit up, how to do that kind of stuff. There's no book for dummies how to live your life without legs and arms, right?
That's definitely right. I like to say there's no playbook for it, but that's another way to say it, yeah.
So, now you're a coach. I mean, how do you take that to the field when you get kids around you going, how can this guy coach us? He's never played the game. He's not going to know what we do. He's not going to know a pass route. Like, don't you get a little of that skepticism and you have to kind of overcome that?
Well, especially in the early years. I've been coaching for 17 years now, and the first couple of years I definitely remember where I was questioned by the students. It was a little bit easier because I started coaching in my high school alumni, Gilroy High School, and I just think that when people know who you are as a person, they start forgetting about your disability. So first things first is getting to know people, and I think it's just natural for people to start realizing who others are, and then they forget about actually the challenges. I'm sure you've experienced where your friends forget that you don't have legs, and they'll do something crazy and make a comment or something. For example, my friend, I'll use this example. I love this moment. When I was working at Best Buy, my manager wanted to give me, he was handing me the keys because I needed to get into the shelf for the iPods. But obviously, I'm not going to be able to grab the keys from his hand, right? So in that quick moment, he forgot that I had hands because I work with him so naturally, and he just kind of forgot about it. So just to take it back to football, the kids see how much I love the sport and how well I can design the plays. after a week or two, they start forgetting about the disability, and then we just start focusing on getting better.
And a lot of times when you have that good circle of friends, they start making jokes about, I heard all the leg jokes and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
But the outside world becomes offended, and they're like, how can you say that
Yeah.
about something? But, I've always figured out if you can't laugh at yourself, you shouldn't be laughing at others.
Yeah.
And so I make fun of myself all the time. I'm sure, you've heard the jokes. They might have said, what do you if you throw Rob in a pool, does his name become Bob? All that kind of stuff, like those stupid jokes that I get all my life.
Yeah.
But I think humor is the best way to deal with it. I think they don't expect you and I to be comfortable in these half bodies.
Yeah. A lot of people find those little crack of jokes sometimes uncomfortable, but it is what it is. If they're going to find it uncomfortable, then that's their own, I don't know if I call it issue, but their own way to go about it. And, for us, I guess we could say, let's not take life so serious. And my first interview at Adidas back when I was like 16 years old, my manager was like, I'm sure you just want to get your feet wet. And he said that so natural. I'm like, was that a joke? He goes, no, actually it wasn't, but this is just going to be so cool. So I think that you can't take life so serious, and it just makes it easier, I guess.
Yeah, I think we need to get some of those phrases out. I don't want to put my foot in the door. Just take one step at a time. I want to give an arm and a leg. All that stupid stuff that we hear. That
Can you lend me a hand is actually something realistic that I need sometimes. So that's not a
See,
joke.
you didn't catch that pass, and I was going to say two hands, right? And they would have looked at me, right? Yeah, and I did that to Michael Smith. He dropped the one, and I'm like, two hands, and they're looking at me, and I'm like, you know what? We're all family. We're all brothers. If we could just get over, the labels, because as I said, this is your normal. This is my normal. We were born this way. We aren't a veteran that lost it, which is much harder to deal with mentally. This is the only way we do. And we do things a little differently, and our bodies aren't meant for this. We were talking about, my shoulders, my arm hurts the worst it's ever hurt. I shouldn't have played football the other night, but, your spine, the way you do things, the way you walk, it's not meant for, and you're still virtually young. So I'm like, you got to start thinking about rehab and doing things different, muscle structure, education as far as nutrition, all those things they didn't tell us about.
Yeah, so I'm starting to get into the age where I do need to stretch in the morning. I can't spend as many hours in my wheelchair as I used to be able to. But you adapt and overcome in life. And you know what? I'm not going to feel sorry for myself because everybody ages. And I might be aging a little bit faster because I say I have a back like a 60-year-old, but I'm only 33 right now. So, you know what? I'm just going to try to make the best of it and definitely go to physical therapy and take care of myself because they care of themselves.
So what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a football player. I want to be a quarterback. No, I'm already old, and I think I already found my niche, which is coaching and teaching. Ultimately, I love teaching. Coaching is coaching football, but then what are you actually getting out of it? For me, I see the potential what the players have, and not just for their football talents. I mean, like, I had a kid that was a linebacker, but was really into audio. So when ESPN was making the documentary that year in 2018, he got to know the whole team whenever they came out to practice, and he was so focused on what they were doing. It was cool to see that. And there was one day where he was late. I was like, what are you late for? He goes, Coach, they were showing me the whole setup of the audio box. All right, I got you, man. It's all good. But yeah, just to see people take their own interest, that's another area that I love to see in my students is all the different interests they have.
I think another thing for you, and I don't know if you've thought about it, we broadcast. You've got a great voice. You've got the insight into the game more than most people because you built these plays. You look at plays and analyze them and rebuild them. Like, have you thought about that? That would be a great opportunity for you,
Well, when I was a kid, my dad would set me up with a mic, and we'd watch the Sharks games, and I would try to do the play-by-play, but hockey was too fast. So I took it into football color commentating, and that kind of was a little bit better for me because I understood the game. I can actually talk about the previous play. But yeah, before coaching, I really wanted to pursue a broadcasting, if not an analyst career. And then I found the competitor in me. I just wanted to be on the sidelines. I wanted to contribute to the win. I wanted to inspire and motivate the student athletes. So I wanted to integrate myself a little bit. I don't know if I call it more, but just to be on the team to be able to figure out how to win and how to lose.
I think if we started a podcast, I think it'd be great.
We'd kick ass, dude.
Cutting it close or missing the point, or I don't know, we come up with something catchy because it's amazing. I've seen these players that and it's humbling when they come up to me, but I see what they come up to you, and I know you're not a big rah-rah guy on that, but it just it's beautiful to see these players come up to you like we just had a legend come up to you.
Yeah. I'm still in kind of starstruck mode because just 3 years ago I was making $18 an hour at Best Buy, living the best days, and here I am on Radio Row, talking to you, Dave. And actually, I met you originally in Miami, and that was my first time really ever experiencing that whole journey. But nothing's really changed. I don't never overlook the moments in life what we're experiencing right now.
And it's neat when I can go out and seek out somebody and meet somebody like you, because you inspire me. I look at you and I'm like, what am I complaining about? Like everybody, and I'm sure you look at people and go, I could have something wrong with my brain. I could not talk. I could be blind. But you're living and breathing and you're making an impact just by your example.
I think that's what makes us great, is that we're both human and we both realize that, inspiration goes a long way, because I know deep down inside you're an inspirational person, but you still have the humility to tell others and everyone else and appreciate them. So I really do appreciate yourself, because I know 80% of the time you're a goofball, but
don't tell my students that.
No, they already know that. But deep down inside, you have a big heart, and a lot of people see that. So I appreciate you, Dave.
I'm so glad our worlds have come along. Our mutual friend Zion Clark, another. The fastest man on two arms. We raced each other. Wait till you see that footage.
One of his arms is like the size of my torso. That dude is so ripped. It's crazy.
And then we wrestled. We wrestled a little bit, and he took it serious, and then I started taking it serious, and it was.
That's his thing. So I mean, if you're going to talk about Madden, I get really competitive. If you're going to wrestle with Zion, he's going to get competitive. So.
All right, buddy. Before I let you go, X's and O's, so you can analyze this game a little different than just feeling about the underdog. So, who you got and why?
It's going to be a good matchup. I feel like the Rams pass rush with Von Miller adding to the D line, and also Aaron Donald, I think they might be able to take advantage of that offensive line for Cincinnati. And I'm not going to take anything away from Joe. He is the new Joe Cool, and I think that it's just Matt Stafford's year. I'm not going to break it down X's and O's, because I truthfully haven't really watch NFL Network like I have been during the season. I've been on the go with a lot of these events, but I know that pass rush from the LA Rams is just ridiculous, because I'm a Niners fan, and that's what really kind of killed the game for us in the fourth quarter. They got to Jimmy in the fourth quarter, and as you guys know, pass rushers can really just take over a whole game. So,
hey, by the way, where's your Espy?
I call her Esperanza. I keep her at home. She's well protected in a Pelican case, and I take her wherever I have speaking events, but I should have brought her. You know what? My bad.
We'll get a big chain around your neck. All right, Coach Rob Mendez. He's a football coach. That's all he is, and he's a good human being. So thank you for taking some time with me. I can't wait to catch up. I hope it's not another 2 years, because it's been way too long since we saw each other, brother.
Yeah, well, we made it through 2020, so we're blessed for that. Thanks for having me, Dave.
All right, Rob Mendez, and don't forget, what's the name of the book, Rob?
Who Says I Can't? Nobody. Yeah.
And mine is very special, because I didn't have to wait in line and stand for this autograph. And again, the things you take for granted, watching your penmanship, which is way better than mine, is beautiful. And he's signing with his mouth. So, just an amazing dude. He's getting embarrassed, but this guy is such a, get the book, go to his website, CoachRobMendez.com, or Instagram, Coach Rob Mendez. Rob, get out of here. High five me before you leave. All right, there we go. Right over. See where I am? All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to wrap things up in just a bit. I thought Pat McAfee came by. Hopefully he'll stop back by. But, man, it's been a fun week, and I'm so sorry to see you guys go and come. And we got all the friends coming in. Greg Cassell over here from the NFL, one of the greatest statisticians in the history of the league. So the stars are walking around. I'll be crawling around. Rob is going to be rolling around, and we'll see you guys next time. You're watching Ability Media right here on Dave Stevens Speaks. And don't forget, our students are creating great programming that's going to be running tonight on Quinnipiac, Q30, and all of our social media platforms. Great stuff. Interviews with the players. They're doing things that I haven't gotten to do in 20 years. So enjoy it only at Quinnipiac University. We'll see you guys in a bit.